Peace. Peace. I just want to welcome you. If you're looking for help, then you've found it. And you've found it because you've looked for it. In looking for it, you've acknowledged an urge, an urgency, and that you have the capacity to find what you look for. I will show you that the power that you need to change is inside of you. In fact, it's already the case. You have made this moment happen. You've looked for help and you've found help. Okay? In my life, in my world, I am the God of my world. And in your world, you are the God of it too. You have created this situation of need and of actualization. And you must realize that that's your power. You're already manifesting the world that you need. You already recognize that the world that you have right now isn't working for you. And that's why you've set all of these obstacles in your way. That's why you are facing addiction. That's why you are facing such a hard time right now. Peace. We're gonna make it. Now, my experience from addiction relates specifically to cigarettes, but I've also been addicted to a mild addiction to alcohol. I've had addiction to addictive drugs as well. So we're going to go through that. We're going to go and kick its ass, but we're going to give it love at the same time. Why do I say that? Is because we're going to have a lot of hatred for that part of us, and that hatred is part of the problem, okay? It's a hatred that we've got from somewhere else. We are great, actually. We're worthwhile, actually. We're great people, actually. We've got so much to give, actually. However, a lot of us, we find ourselves in places with very negative emotions, very negative vibrations. And what do you do if you're a sensitive type? If you're a human being, if you're a life form with every right to feel, and you find yourself in an environment where others feel that they have had to suffer, so they're going to make you suffer, just like they did. And that's how you make people, according to them. And that's not always the way. So, it's a different way. Let's get to it. So, addiction. We can all find ourselves in addiction. So, first things first is let's not consider addiction as some sort of thing that people that are lesser have. It's like we can easily feel that it is like a brain disease for the lower classes, or for the stupid, or for, people that are lesser and lower. If you walk around a highly urban place and you see homeless people, you might think to yourself, well, they're begging for money, begging for drugs. How could they have allowed themselves to get to that point? Well, it's a can of worms. For example, many of us experience things that no one else can imagine. For example, abuse, neglect. Abuse is a twofold thing whereby not only a caregiver, a guardian, does something wrong, but also that's a guardian or a caregiver that you haven't got anymore, that isn't functional anymore. And thus we just cannot the rule is we just cannot judge others for the situation that they're in, because we can find ourselves in the same situation, and even if we don't, there are those with situations which we can't logically consider. They're beyond logic, they're beyond heart, they're beyond a lot of things. It's crazy. There's a little robin that's landed by me, and I'm tempted to film it. I wonder if I can turn this around. Hello, baby. So, back to it. So we can't judge others. We can't judge others. It's not worth it. We're judging ourselves. Whatever we do to the world, whatever we do to our external reality, we do to ourselves. Whatever judgment you have, it's about yourself. The judgment of others. If you feel judged, let's let that go. So, addiction. And we can't assume that addiction will always come, or comes to those during bad times, okay? Good times. Addiction can find us, can catch us when we're at a really great place, top of the world. Let's not forget that addiction is for people at the bottom. No, it's for all people. And that's because addiction is not always bad. It's something which glues us to the world. It's something which gives us the get up and go. As long as we're addicted to positive things, you're addicted to omega-3 rich foods, you're addicted to nature, fresh air, light exercise, you're addicted to good company, philosophy, you're addicted to self-help, self-nurturing, self-nourishing, self-parenting. You're addicted to sports, you're addicted to good things. There's a lot of things to be addicted to that are positive. And that's what addiction help is all about, is simply taking a negative addiction, replacing it with a positive one. And that's a bit of a key, because a lot of us, when we face addiction cessation, there's a panic. Okay, all of us. You're not an addict to something negative unless you have that fear. When I say you're going to quit, the part of you goes, oh my god, I'm going to quit. No way, no, I can't do it. It hurts. Oh, it's awful. Well, we're not quitting. Okay, so that's part of it. I'll recommend a book by a man called Alan Carr, not the comedian, another guy. Alan Carr, How to Quit Smoking, Stop Smoking, something like that. Read it, check it out. The main thing that I got from that book was that the main reason that people quit is psychological, okay? I mean, addiction is obviously entirely psychological, but the reason why people fail their attempt at cessating smoking, that's his main thing, is because they crush themselves with the idea of quitting. Now, this addiction of yours, it's an emotional crutch. There are loads of emotional crutches that we pick up. Many that I'll talk about. Racism, that's a huge one, right? A lot of the emotional things that we do are emotional crutches because we can't handle. It just hurts facing certain things. So we pick up the first thing, the mind, the childish mind, the ego. The first thing that wraps itself around us to protect us against the world, and it says, do whatever you can to survive. Just do whatever you can to survive. We're falling, so cling on to whatever you can, it doesn't matter. Yeah. But quitting's a big word, it's a scary word, and we're not going to quit anything except for that which does not work for us anymore, We're going to replace it, that's all. Replacing is less scary than quitting. Quitting says your survival is going to stop. The thing that helped you carry on is going to stop now. It's going to end now. You can't have it anymore. You can't have that thing that helped you. Well, that hurts, doesn't it? But you're not going to give up on it. You're not going to No, we're just going to replace it with something else, something better, way better, way better. Because when you do this thing, at the end of the day, you're going to feel good about yourself. If you replace smoking with drinking herbal tea, playing tennis, reading self-help books, going for light walks, joining social groups, you combine all those things are the activities of someone who's really happy about themselves, really loving of themselves, and a normal, natural being in life. You know, not locked up in a room smoking away, not locked up in a room doing drugs or drinking. You know, you are active in the world. That's why you're doing this to yourself, is to force yourself into activity, into the world. The hardest way humanly possible, and that's just the way you play it, baby. That's just the way we play it. We need it hard. We don't operate in any other way unless we leave it to the last minute, unless we need to unless we beat ourselves up about it and throw ourselves onto a crucifix about it and flagellate ourselves about it. You know, it just wouldn't be the same. We just can't operate like that. This is how we operate. Self-destruction is an element to that, why we have to do things in such a hard way, and that's part of this process, nurturing, loving ourselves in a way that we've never done it before, in a way that has never been done to us before. You know, we're going to be the change that we need, maybe. And what a process, believe me. Saying this from the other side, I know how hard it feels at the time. Don't say it's hard, say it's easy. Every time you say, oh, it's so hard, such a hard process, you're making it hard for yourself, say it's easy. Even if you're lying to yourself, you wake up in the morning and say it's easy. Just say it's easy. Keep on saying it's easy, and keep on finding things to occupy your time. When the thought occurs, cravings only last for 5 minutes. Cravings only last for 5 minutes, but then we end up thinking about them all day. So if you get a little action, small thing, one of the best things I ever found was tea. Tea. Herbal tea. Non-caffeine, right? Because if you drink caffeine, you start off with caffeine, then you get wired, man. You burn out. You get fried because you're drinking way too much tea and coffee. So, herbal teas. There's a whole load. Meadow, sweet, nettle. Just check them out. There's a whole world of teas, man. And you need to figure out which one's best for you and which one's. Rooibos and green tea is something I like to mix. Man, rooibos and green tea is so nice, check it out. But that's got caffeine with the green tea, so rooibos, and just combine, mixture, check it out. The best thing about making teas is 5 minutes, man. You got 5 minutes, you've started to crave. You know that in 5 minutes that craving's going to go, but unless you do something about it, it's going to carry on. So you pick yourself up, go to the kitchen, you can make a cup of tea, you boil the kettle, do a few stretches. You know, if you're in a wheelchair, do a few arm stretches. If you're paraplegic, do some tongue stretches. Stretch your mind. You know and I know that there's always something we can do. And you and I know that we can always make it harder for ourselves, and we can always make it worse for ourselves, right? So we're going to go into the kitchen, we're going to select a tea or two, we're going to get that done. We're going to stretch our mind games, anything to get our head out of weight, okay? And now we've got a nice cup of tea, and that's something for us to kind of do. It's a similar kind of motion to put in a smoke up to your mouth or something, right? It's just something to do in that fashion. It occupies you for a few minutes, 10-20 minutes. It involves actions. A lot of things that you can suggest or that are suggested to you won't necessarily hit the mark because they're not the same kind of activity that smoking was. Don't forget, like people say, sport, do sport to take your mind off it, do this yeah, absolutely, all of those things. You got to do them. However, even if it's like walk or getting out of the house, anything, and if you can't get out of the house, meditation, astral travel. However, it's just getting our mind interrupted, okay? misdirect, distract. Okay, the manipulator's toolbook, but we need to take a leaf out of that and manipulate the mind, because the mind has got its own ideas and it's absorbed all of the mumbo jumbo that people have said about you, and it's gone along with it, and it said, yeah man, you aren't worth it, you're worthless man, we just need to smoke like everyone else, dwindle into obscurity like everyone else, and be just like everyone else, and then everyone else will be happy, you know. And then at the end of the day they won't be happy, because they'll say, where's a pity that you didn't do anything with your life. So break apart, break out of the mould, be different. So addiction, help. Little things, little strategies. So tease, stretching, these can all interrupt the mind. Short walks, small walks, self-help books, reading, writing, get all your thoughts out. Make videos, do what you can, stretch, think outside the box, do things that you've never thought you'd ever do. Open the possibility of that new person. So like I mentioned, you know, there's a lot of things that we could do to take our mind off of things, right? So like, if we go for a walk or we've got different interests, you know, then we start to form this new personality. And like I say, that is why our soul contrived all of these hassles for us, right? All of these hardships. It's so that we'd break through the threshold of it all and find the succulent, sweet, but absolutely amazing centre inside that we wouldn't have otherwise, right? And that's so important. Now, I mentioned groups. Check out the cessation cessation groups, Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous. These are really interesting and worthwhile. Do I say check it out even if you're not an addict of hard drugs, soft drugs or alcohol? Possibly, you know, because there's so much to be learned in our own lives and in our own universe about addiction and about others and addiction and about psychology of addiction, spirituality within addiction, you know. And that's going to lead me on to is it the final point? Let's see. But there is a point, right, where we have to give up the world of giving up a bit, right? What do I mean by that is, in the Narcotics Anonymous world, there's a sort of spiritualistic edge to it. One of the things they say is like, we state that we acknowledge that we are without power in this situation, and we relinquish control to a higher power who will have the strength for us. I don't really necessarily agree with that. I do understand wholeheartedly the feature of something which has power over us that we feel that we don't have power from. But I don't believe in the thing that we don't have the power over it to conquer it. Yeah, we do. And ultimately we will. And I think that's sort of like the spirit of Narcotics Anonymous is a bit of an addict itself, a bit of a drug in itself, because it says you can't ever and don't ever move on from this. It has the same spirit as any drug, right? Don't move on from this. This is we're your family now. You don't need anything else. And then you get people who are 50, 60 years down the line, like, still going to the Narcotics Anonymous. And one thing is, in these things they say, I'm an addict, right? Forever, you're an addict forever. There's a huge psychology about that, because when we're addicted to things, we remain addicted. Even when we're cured, I mean, there ain't no cure. There's just a state of persistent self-discipline that you reach, right? And beyond a state, it takes less and less effort. But you can never ever say that you've mastered it, you've cured yourself and knew better, and you'll never have to require any self-discipline again. Because the second you do that, the next day you're going to have a problem, and you're going to find yourself right back to square one, because there's a nature of addiction whereby it is within your mind for the rest of your life. It's just a feature of like human experience. Like I say, it's what keeps us grounded, keeps us interested in the world and what we do. You know, it's the, you know, you love that activity that you do. Well, you know, you're addicted to it. You know, it's a positive addiction. It's great. It keeps you going. What's not to love, right? What's not to love? So we kind of, I mean, my experience of this is when I took NHS help for stopping smoking, I took patches, and that was after more than a dozen attempts, man. No doubt, 11 probably attempts. They say it takes at least 7 attempts to quit smoking, so remember that. If you fail, don't worry. Just learn something about it. Make sure that you've got at least one tool, a few tools under your belt, and then it's not so much of a loss. But you're gonna probably fail. I don't want to promise you that you've failed. I don't want to put that into your reality necessarily. But don't feel bad about yourself if you do fail. You know, should you fail? Because it's natural and that's part of the process. You have to learn how to fail, how to bounce back, without killing yourself about it, without flagellating yourself, whipping yourself, you know, without hurting yourself. You have to forgive yourself. You have to say, I screwed up today, but I'm not going to hate myself about it. Tomorrow I'm just going to try again. I'm just going to get back on again. There's no trying, there's doing. I'm just going to do it again tomorrow. I'm going to crack on again tomorrow. Today, I messed up, but hey, that's that. And that's because if we hate ourselves about it and punish ourselves for it, then it's going to be like a week-long process. 2 weeks. You need a good week to punish yourself. You need another week to get over it and to carry on with your addiction and getting back into that and make yourself feel better. And then you have to have another week to come down after that and all that stuff, man. Holy moly, right? That's weeks and weeks now. Or just forgive yourself. Say, I love that part of me. I'm so sorry that everything happened. Let's not blame anyone. Let's just get over it. Let's just move on. The more we blame, the more we want revenge, and the more we stay in that place. And the more energy we're giving to it, when we can give energy to our future, right? So, you can do it. You're on the path. You're going to make it. The time is one of positivity, right? It feels hard. Your feelings are in control. Your stomach is kind of funny. Your head's funny. Don't listen to your head, man. It's going to convince you to do it. Stinking thinking, they call it. And you're going to have to recognize when you start to do it. It's when you start to justify it. So when I came to quit cigarettes, it took me loads of attempts, many attempts. I would always cold turkey it. I could cold turkey it for about 1 or 2 weeks. Then I'd screw it up somehow. Eventually, after more than 10 attempts, probably more than 10 years trying, easily 10 years trying, I finally sought help from the NHS and I took on patches. And patches are great. If you're gonna think about quitting smoking, patches, man. I recommend trying to quit smoking without patches first, getting a few tips, doing the 3 day, you know, if you can do 3 days, then people always said if you can do 3 days you can do it, and I think that's broadly correct. You know, those 3 days you're going to use you're going to talk yourself out of a lot of cravings, and that's the toolkit. Okay, that's the toolkit. You know, just not giving in and having enough vociferousness, enough will, you know. But there was something I noticed, right, and that was the patches were taking a bit too long to come off of, and I was worried that, so you get them in 3 varieties, strong, medium and light. I think it's 50 milligrams, 25 and 10, something like that. I think the final one's 15, in fact, and 50, 25, and 15. And I wanted to taper off the final one by cutting them in half. I think I did that for a short while. I think I cut the last ones in half. They said you shouldn't do it. I did it anyway. And basically, in the end, okay, this is what you want to do. You want to basically cold turkey the patches when you feel like, I've had enough of these. Oh, and before I continue, I should say that the good thing about patches is that you can still carry on smoking just one cigarette. You can still have your morning cigarette. So if you're worried about like, oh, what am I going to do? You know, it takes an hour to get going. You wake up, you slap it on, you have your morning cigarette, and then an hour later, you won't even think about it. The beautiful thing about patches is all day goes by, don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. Get to the end of the day, oh man, I forgot I was addicted to cigarettes. I forgot to think about cigarettes. That's how it goes, you know. And so I got on great, but you know, you need to cold turkey your addiction help, right? If you can cold turkey cigarettes or what have you, what you're doing, then you can cold turkey the help, but only when you feel like you've outgrown it, you know? Only when you feel like you've had enough and you've outgrown it. Yeah. That's the most part of it, I think. That's like the fruit of it. That's the most of it. You've entered into this pathway for a reason, okay? You can do it, you're going to come out the other side. When you do, it's going to be a new you. The part of you that's... The reason why it's so hard is because you're kind of going to grieve the person that you are losing it, you know what I mean? And there's a kind of... it's hard to do that sometimes, man. It's hard to do that. At any time, right? It's all kind of subconscious. We don't realise that we're giving up a whole self, but we're craving giving up that whole self so that we can have a better, purer, more wonderful self that's capable of so much more. Capable of like infinite things, man. Artistic stuff. Creative stuff. You're going to make a mark. You're going to make a mark on the world. You can't do that when you're sitting in a room smoking and drinking, right? And being depressed and being hard on yourself, you know? That sucks. How much does that suck? It sucks. And it's why that you've put all of these obstacles in your path. It's why you were born in the place that you were born, to the people that you were born to, and experienced all that you have. It's to put you in this situation right here, right now. It might be hard. You've created it all, okay? You are the creator of your universe, okay? There's a reason why you're going through all of this. It's to understand your power, understand that if you have contrived this, then you can contrive the next thing, okay? If you have had the power to make everything the way it is now, you have the power to make everything the way it will be going forwards, okay? Something beautiful, wonderful. Where am I? I'm in a beautiful garden. I'm not in hell. I'm in heaven now. This is life. This is love. I live in heaven. I didn't wait to die and go to heaven. I make heaven in my own world. And I encourage it, I cultivate it, I allow you to cultivate it in your life. I pray that you do, I pray that you share it. You see why we're here? You see why you're doing what you're doing now? You see why you have to leave that old self? You see what's so beautiful about the new self? It's amazing. It's something worth fighting for, okay? Something worth suffering for, suffering through, to get to, you know? It's powerful, it's magic, that's what we're into. That's what we're doing. Universal magic of the self and our universe. So, isn't life a funny mixed bag? You know, it's special, it's wonderful. You're special, you're wonderful. We're going to get through it. Okay, I believe in you. I believe that you can do things that those around you cannot, couldn't even grasp, couldn't even think of. You know, it's tough. We find ourselves with surrounded by people that really won't ever get us, and they won't ever get us. But that's fine, you know. peace. My honor to meet you, friend. I hope that your journey is less painful than mine was. It doesn't have to be painful. It just has to be. Peace and love, warrior. Peace and love, student. We're all students, and we're all divine. We're all just struggling in this material world. Let's make a new world. What should we do next?